welcome you to the open forum portion of the selection of the president for Thomas Nelson Community College. Before we get started, I'd like to just briefly tell you, what we'll be doing here today. Each candidate has been given an opportunity to select between a given topic or a topic of their choice to speak on. Then we will have representatives from the various constituent groups serve on the panel and ask the candidates questions. Then we'll give you an opportunity to also ask questions of the candidates. And then we'll ask you to complete an evaluation form, which hopefully you picked up at the doors as you entered. And hopefully have an opportunity to fill it out now. If not, you can turn it in later on into the Human Resources Department. Okay? I also like to give a special welcome to Bill Monroe, our board chair, represents the city of area of Yorktown. Welcome. And I'd also like to welcome Dr. Taylor's wife, Dr. Shahrazad Taylor. She's over here. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Okay, with that, we'll get started. Okay, Dr. Charles Taylor is currently a Senior Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance at Peralta Community College in Oakland, California. He's held this position since 2002. Previously, he was a Chancellor and Chief Executive Officer for the Community Colleges of Spokane, Washington from 1999 to 2001 and served as President of St. Philip's College in San Antonio, Texas from 1995 to 1999. He's also held administrative appointments in Michigan and Maryland. He has a doctorate in educational administration and supervision. He has a master's degree in education and a bachelor's degree in sociology. And now I'd like to turn over the mic to Dr. Taylor to give you his presentation.
Good afternoon. Very good. I brought a little sunshine today, so as part of my presentation, when you go out, the sun will still be shining. But I'm going to go through this presentation, and one of the things that I'm going to do as part of the presentation is compare the Dateline 2000 strategic initiatives to Thomas Nelson Community College. And so I'm just going to go through this presentation. They had about a 10 to 12 minute presentation. So I'm going to go through certain parts. I'll go through it very fast, and others I'll give you some more information. But let me begin. I left out some of the music, so leadership. Basically, what I want to emphasize is my background, my leadership. As you heard, I've been a chancellor. I'm a senior vice chancellor for administration and finance, and chief operating officer. Successful administrative experience as a president at St. Philip's College, as a community college in San Antonio, Texas. I've also been a vice president of student services and also a dean of student development at Chicago State University. Teaching experience, I bring teaching experience. I've been an associate professor. I've also taught undergraduate and graduate programs. When I was president at St. Philip's College, I also taught Introduction to Education. I am unique in one sense because as the president coming in, I understand student affairs and academic affairs. As I mentioned, I used to be Dean of Student Development and also Vice President of Student Services. The other component, the educational background, mentioned a doctorate degree from Loyola University of Chicago, master's degree from Johns Hopkins University, and an undergraduate degree from the East Coast University of Maryland. My theme and my philosophy is basically excellence in all we do, emphasizing vision, leadership, experience, philosophy of teamwork, and a commitment to open communication. And I want to pause here because when we talk about the issue of Thomas Nelson and how far we have to go and the opportunities, we need to continue to have teamwork and open communication. As president coming in, I want to emphasize that as part of my philosophy. Thomas Nelson Community College in Dateline 2009. As you know, the Virginia system is talking about a large number of new initiatives and strategic directions for the year from now to 2009. And the part of my presentation is how Thomas Nelson fits into that and how we can help with that accomplishment. Before we go on, just a small brief understanding before we as an institution can move forward talking about Dateline 2000, just to help remember our vision, the vision statement. Also, remember our mission statement, how we can tie in Thomas Nelson to the Dateline 2009. I'm not going to read it because all of you know the mission. The goals and initiatives, strategic initiatives that were set up by Thomas Nelson. These are the various goals: the learning environment, student development, the historic triangle, technology, work development. We need to make sure that we keep in mind all of these initiatives that we actually plan for ourselves here at Thomas Nelson before we deal with the Dateline 2009. Again, emphasizing excellence in all we do, my background, experience, and information, and concentrating on those key words, excellence in all we do. Successful experience, a little bit about my background, again, in terms of increased enrollment as part of the Dateline 2009. Leadership in building a new $65 million Vista College campus, currently in Peralta Community College District. We're building that now. High student enrollment, consecutive years for community colleges of Spokane. Developed a new LVN to RN bridge degree program for St. Philip's College. Increased student enrollment by 17%. Again, giving you a little bit about my background. And we also developed an extension center and expanded programs in the Northeast and San Antonio, Texas. That program was so successful, they actually started a brand new college in the Northeast quadrant of San Antonio. How does that tie into Thomas Nelson? Clearly, in terms of us meeting the needs of the strategic initiatives and also the Dateline 2009, clearly here at Thomas Nelson we're positioned to accomplish those goals. The new Williamsburg campus, very flexible, individualized. We meet the needs, moving into distance education, the historic triangle facility, and dedicated faculty and staff, and also we're one of the high growth areas of the state. So combined together with my skills and abilities and experience with currently in terms of everything that's happening here, the dedicated faculty and staff, we can clearly meet this goal. On the increased graduation, retention, and placement, my background and experience have always emphasized quality, student services, and academic excellence. 28% of the applied science degree programs received exemplary ratings by the Higher Education Coordinating Board at St. Philip's College. The state average is 5%. St. Philip's College, when I was president there, we moved to 28%. We implemented several new applied science and associate arts programs. We developed and started a child care center and a child care council at Kellogg Community College. And we also received a 10-year reaffirmation of accreditation at St. Philip's College. And it's critical because we're going through a new accreditation. Basically, a year we'll be doing our self-study in 205 and accreditation in 206. So my background, and then again, for Thomas Nelson, emphasizing the dedicated faculty and staff and administration. And you hear me talking about dedicated faculty and staff because I want you to understand that I clearly understand with the tight budget, we are stretched to the limit in terms of staffing, and people have pulled in and pulled together to try to continue to serve the students in this community and business and industry with limited funds, but basically people coming together. We have quality instruction and support services. We're expanding technology, the new Early Childhood Development Center, flexible class schedule and programs. Again, all of these things with Thomas Nelson, friendly environment, library, academic materials lab, the student commons, and again, with graduation really being at the end. Again, coming together with my skills, my experiences, and those of Thomas Nelson. Going out again, excellence in all we do, from my leadership experience, philosophy of team, commitment to open communication. Another one of the 2009 initiatives, transfer to four-year college and university. I've been involved in the higher education leadership group in Spokane. Successful university administrative experience, both in the private sector and the public sector. relocation of the community college district administration offices in Spokane to the Higher Education Park. The Higher Education Park had all the universities and higher education institutions. Community colleges of Spokane, we were the only institution not in the Higher Education Park. So we actually moved our center there, and our district office there, so that we would understand that we were an integral player in Spokane. We strengthened ties with four-year colleges and universities in San Antonio and also in Spokane, Washington, and we increased the number of articulation agreements. Thomas Nelson, clearly the 2+2 articulation agreements that currently are in place, strong relationships with four-year institutions, academic planning and transfer resource center, the positions to strengthen ties with four-year colleges and universities, dedicated knowledgeable faculty advisors and counselors, and as I was walking by today, we saw the faculty advisors advising the students, and the transferability of the courses that we have here. All of these will help in terms of the transfer to four-year colleges and universities. Workforce training. Some of my major components from my experience is Mayor's Task Force on Economic Development in Spokane, Frost National Bank Small Business Advisory Board. I provided leadership in the establishment of the Inland Northwest Technology Education Center, called INTEC, appointed to the Spokane Area Workforce Development Council Board, and also in terms of economic development, I was chairman of the board for the Battle Creek Investment Growth Corporation. Again, emphasizing my background experience in terms of workforce training. Coming together in terms of workforce training for Thomas Nelson. Clearly, the Peninsula Workforce Development Center, the partnerships currently with business and industry, the One-Stop Career Center, the Information Technology Institute, Tech Prep Program, ACT Center, etc., etc. Clearly, there are a lot of opportunities here at Thomas Nelson. Clearly, there are a lot of opportunities for this community and for this region, and Thomas Nelson played a critical role in moving forward. Increased dual enrollment programs with high schools, my background and experience, Information Technology Academy we established when I was in Spokane with K-12 and the college district, a very good partnership. Not only were students able to have concurrent enrollment, but we had businesses giving internships to those students in the classes, and we also put it into a major building. Successful experience in partnering with K-12 school districts, experience with concurrent enrollment programs, and we expanded dual enrollment programs in Spokane and San Antonio. And again, my background experience, those of Thomas Nelson, we have a good dual credit program currently. We have good relationships with other K-12 related programs. We have academic planning, the Transfer Resource Center. We're positioned, clearly, we're positioned to strengthen ties with K-12 school districts. We have, again, dedicated and knowledgeable staff. And as I mentioned earlier, the transferability of our courses, all of this will help in terms of our dual enrollment programs and meeting the Dateline 2000 initiatives. Private funding. As you know, we are suffering as an institution in terms of trying to find additional funds. My background, extensive experience in private fundraising. I was on the Battle Creek Senior Citizen Center, a successful campaign to build that new center. The San Antonio Spurs Professional Basketball Foundation Board, the Bynum Park Zoo campaign drive, successful Forward San Antonio Task Force Bond Initiative, the Carver Community Cultural Center Development Board, and very successful experience with community college foundations. Here in private funding, we're positioned to strengthen the ties with business and industry in the community. We have existing partnerships. We meet the needs, the historic Triangle facility, the new Williamsburg campus, high growth area, but clearly we need to energize the educational foundation to bring in more funds to the college here, but also at the same time create opportunities. Affordable tuition, quickly I'll go through this. I've been a strong advocate for keeping education accessible. We talk about affordable tuition. I've been on the executive board of AACC, which is the American Association of Community Colleges. I've been on the ACCT President's Advisory Board for the Association of Community College Trustees. I've been a strong advocate for community colleges in general, and also successful administration of district and college resources in difficult times. Very important, without compromising the quality of programs and services. Very important when we talk about dwindling resources. Thomas Nelson, again, good position in the community. We need to tell the Thomas Nelson Community College story. We have a great story here. We need to tell the story and feel good about it. Continue to be an advocate for the community college mission. We have a strong stewardship of our funds, resources, both personal, professional, academic resources, people, and facilities. We'll continue to work with the chancellor, the district offices, and the local board, and we need to continue to accomplish our strategic goals. The one thing that I bring, and I will emphasize this at this time in terms of affordable tuition, at St. Philip's College, it was a two-campus college. And so as we moved into the Williamsburg area, I've had the experience of working on a two-campus college, also in the experience of actually building a new center and a new campus. And so I bring that experience, but also I understand what's happening at a district office from a chancellor. I've been a chancellor, so I understand the relationship from a college president and also from a chancellor's office, so I bring that experience as well. Excellence in all we do, vision, leadership, experience, philosophy of teamwork, commitment to open communication. As I come to an end, I want to emphasize these last couple of slides. And you may not see it, but I put it in as a small caveat at the top, so I want you to really concentrate on this particular slide. And it states together the community college family. No matter what we are able to do, no matter who comes in as the CEO, the only way we can accomplish our goals and our missions is we do it together. And I emphasize the teamwork. I can be the CEO, I can be the president, but it's real important that we all work together, not only from the faculty, not only from the administration, but the staff and the students as well, the alumni, the local board. We all have to work together if we want to accomplish all of our goals. We have to do that through these things. Open communication, very critical. Hard work, collaboration, dedication, teamwork, very important to me, a climate of trust and respect. Very critical. I'm going to go through the slide one last time. Open communication, hard work, collaboration, dedication, teamwork, and a climate of trust and respect. If we do all these things, the opportunities are endless and the possibilities are now. We have our theme that we say, explore the possibilities to our community, to business and industry. With what we have here today, the opportunities are endless and the possibilities are now. And I'm Charles Taylor, hopefully a viable, strong candidate for the president here of Thomas Nelson, and I bring to you my commitment of hard work, dedication, open communication, teamwork, and being able to work with students, faculty, staff, administrators, the community, business and industry. I have the experience, but if you looked at my slides, I put one key word: successful experience. You can have all the experience in the world, but unless it's a successful experience, that is what I will bring to Thomas Nelson, someone that's willing to work, but the emphasis, excellence in all we do. Thank you.
Now we'll move to the panel questions for Dr. Taylor.
Lights.
Each panel member will ask one question, and then they'll take turns, and then the next panel member will ask a question. Hopefully, we'll get to all the questions today. And we started with Tim yesterday, we'll start with Pam, Dr. Turner today.
Thank you. The VCCS has a mission. The college has a mission, and each of us have a mission as professionals. What is your mission?
What is my mission? My mission is basically one of service, being given the opportunity to serve the community, being able to serve the business and industry. I've always been committed to education, and as you see, you got an opportunity to meet my lovely wife. She's a doctor. My oldest daughter, she's a doctor in the medical field in Pennsylvania. I emphasize family and giving back to the community. And so my mission is to serve the college, to serve the region, and serve the state, and making certain that education is acceptable, accessible, affordable, and that we emphasize quality education and quality services. Thank you.
You actually just answered half of my first question, so
Okay.
I'll ask you the first part. Can you tell us what attracts you to Thomas Nelson?
Okay. Can everybody hear the question?
No.
I didn't think so. Could you ask it again?
Sure. Can you tell me what attracts you to Thomas Nelson?
When I'm looking at an institution, I try to find a mechanism and a way that we can come together, and so that I can utilize my experiences and my background to benefit the college. Again, with everything that's happening here, the opportunity for growth, all the things that are happening in the Williamsburg area, because of my background in building new facilities and looking at opportunities for growth, right now it attracts me because we have the individuals here who've been working very, very hard. There's a commitment to students, there's a commitment to the community, there's a commitment to the region, and it attracts me because it's something that will fit into what I'm looking for. It fits into an area where I believe my background experience will help us grow and go to the next level. We won't, in I believe 5 years, be the 4th largest community college in the state. We'll probably be number 2 and growing. Oh, let me add, but that comes with additional money.
Forrest, on behalf of the students, I know you briefly touched on this topic, but it never hurts to reiterate a topic. Have you ever had any previous experience in establishing measures to create agreements between 2 and 4-year colleges to ensure that those wishing to transfer for a 2-year can easily continue their education at a 4-year institution?
The answer is yes, extensive experience. The benefit or some of the advantages that I bring is that I've had the experience of working at a 4-year institution at Loyola University of Chicago and also Chicago State. So I can understand and appreciate and talk the actual language at the university, emphasizing the quality of programs that we have here at Thomas Nelson, and develop those articulation agreements. So I've had extensive experience in doing that, but not just asking the universities, can we transfer and have articulation agreements, but more importantly, to show them the quality of students that are coming out of our program, how successful they will be when they transfer. So I'm not just looking at saying we're putting programs together where individuals can transfer, but making certain that the students, when they transfer, they are successful in those transfer opportunities in the programs. So I have extensive experience in that.
Dr. Tim, welcome. I'm Tim Weedman, and I'm a member of the faculty. The college runs a lot of classes in this time slot, so many of my teaching colleagues aren't here right now.
Okay.
So many of my questions were developed in collaboration with a number of faculty members who aren't here right now.
Okay.
Describe your experiences as a full-time faculty member. How has this shaped your view of collegial governance and your approach to administrative leadership?
Well, coming from the background of teaching in the undergraduate and graduate level, and also, as I mentioned, as president, I taught at the Introduction Education course. What it has given me is a clear appreciation for what's happening actually in the classroom. It also gives me the understanding that there's sometimes not only 2 sides to an issue, but there's sometimes 3 and So when we're talking about shared governance, as I want to emphasize to everyone, we all play a role in the teaching and learning experience, not from the academic side or the staff side or the faculty side, but as a collective community college community. And so shared governance play a critical role when we're dealing with budgets, when we're dealing with new curriculum, when we're dealing with new programs, dealing with new initiatives. From a faculty vantage point, from a faculty background, I clearly can talk the languages, if you will. I clearly understand what's happening in the classroom, from distance education, from multimedia classroom teaching styles and teaching techniques. It's important for the faculty here to understand, having that background and knowledge, when, quote unquote, the administration is asking faculty to take on additional students to service our needs, there needs to be an understanding of what that will mean to that faculty member. And so my background experience will clearly have a good point where we can come together on some common grounds. And so that's how we're tied into the shared governance. We're all at the table. And if you look at the theme that I put into my presentation, it's basically teamwork, everyone coming together. And my background and the shared governance, they basically come together.
TNCC is at a critical point in its history with a new campus coming online and many other challenges. Given our challenges, what do you believe is the minimum tenure this college needs in a new president for best results?
The minimum tenure. Okay. Let me see. I can't tell you how old I am now. But I think I have another 40 years in me. Always have. I would say for everything that's happening right now, with the new campus coming online, the initiatives that are taking place, I would say for a 10-year, minimum of a 10-year period as a minimum. And I can simply say when you have for 2009 a goal set for the Virginia system as a whole, right now we're in 04, so that's basically a 5-year period there. But one of the things that's coming online is the building up of the Williamsburg campus. You'll need the continuity, the continuation. We have in a 2-year period a new accreditation that's coming through, so that time period will take additional time. And I believe for me as president coming in, we have to clearly raise the resources necessary, and that's going to take time. And business and industry, they're very particular when they say they're going to give $1 million. They want to make certain that the person who came in and asked for those funds are still there. They're going to make certain that the individual that asked for the funds work with the community, work with faculty, work with staff, that that individual is still at the helm moving the institution forward. Because when you're going in and asking for equipment, supplies, material, you're going to be telling the story, and they want to make sure that the story you're telling is going to continue, that everyone is involved in the decision-making process, that no matter who you talk to, they clearly understand the vision and the direction that the institution is going. And that will take time. Building relationships, getting involved in the community, getting to know the community college as a whole, and also getting to know the Williamsburg area, and at the same time emphasizing and putting in some new things in place. So 10 years, but I have a lot more past that in me.
Can you tell us how you handle opposing views and describe how you would resolve a significant conflict among individuals and constituencies at the college? And also, please, if you'll use an example from your past, describing what actions you took and the outcome.
Can you say that very last part?
Use an example from your past.
Okay. Basically, how I deal with conflict is having people sit down at the table, bringing them together, have open dialogue and communication. What happens many times is that people are either not hearing the other person's point of view, and many times, as I mentioned in the first one of the questions, is that people have different views of what is taking place. And I'll give a prime example. And I'm going to walk a little, this is part of my teaching style, is that if I'm walking here and I'm looking straight ahead, the audience is seeing this side of me. The individuals at the table, they're looking at me from this side. Now, if I have a smudge on this side of the face, they say, well, he doesn't take care of himself because he's smudgy and so forth and so on. side of me that's better than the side they're seeing. So even though I'm standing in the middle, everybody's seeing the exact same thing, there are two different views. And so what I try to do is bring people to the table, making certain, again, looking at the common goal and the direction. I'll give an example. When I first went to the community colleges of Spokane, we had a strong adversarial relationship between the administration and the faculty, even to the point that they didn't go on strike, but they had a day out or like a stop out. What we did is we brought the two parties together and we put in place interest-based bargaining. We basically stated, let's put aside all the differences for a moment, but what is our real vision, what are our real goals, and what are we trying to accomplish? Taking those two components and sitting them at the table, both of those sides, they received training on interest-based bargaining, so they were at the table getting the same identical training, the emphasis on what direction we were going, and the end result of that, even though a year before they were planning on going out on strike, the new contract that was put in place, the faculty voted, when they voted, 95% voted yes to the new contract. It was one of the highest contract approval rates in the state of Washington. And so that's an example of bringing two opposing sides together. They were really opposing sides, and bring them to the table and say, let's deal with a common issue. And as I mentioned here at Thomas Nelson, we have a common vision, and that's why I put it up on the slide to simply say we need to make certain that everybody understands the vision and also understands the mission. And if we use that as our base, then let's see how we can come together. And there may still be conflicts, but at least people can say, I had the opportunity to say what was on my mind. Someone listened to me. They took some of my ideas and other ideas they didn't, but at least we came together for a common cause, and that's to serve the community, serve the students, and to move forward and help them improve the economic development of this area. Thank you.
What characteristics in customer service do you feel create a strong student-staff relationship? And what experience have you had in creating or aiding the foundation of that strong customer service environment?
Thank you for asking that question. That's one of the key areas that I bring to the president's position, is that I've been in student services. I've been in the forefront, dealing with financial aid, dealing with advising, dealing with Title III programs, single-parent programs, and customer services. And the emphasis that is not just the emphasis of students being customers, because they're a little bit more than that, because people say, oh, students are customers. Students are coming to the institution for education and understanding, especially for the community college here at Thomas Nelson. People are coming with a lot of different backgrounds, experiences, education. And so for a good student customer service, a student staff relationship, what I have done is to try to emphasize that we are student-centered as an institution, that that's what we're about, that we actually have put individuals through training, but we also take the time to find out the needs of the staff. If a person is working 12 hours straight for whatever reason, or we have a large overflow of students coming in that is not individuals being given the opportunity to take a break, we also have to make certain that if there's something going on in a particular department where they're, let's say, overrun with students, that we have the opportunity to make some adjustments. So it's not just having a philosophy, but understanding the needs of staff, the individuals who are on the front line, also making certain that the faculty, the administration, the community understands our philosophy in terms of serving students, taking the time. Our population here at Thomas Nelson is changing. We're getting more students coming in at the age of coming out of high school, and we need to make certain that we're no longer dealing with the quote-unquote older population, but we're now dealing with a younger population. And with that, some of our services, some of our philosophies will have to change because their needs are going to change. But as president, I need to make certain that there's enough training available for our staff to meet those changing needs, because as the demographics need change, we need to make sure that we can change. But we need to make sure that there's commitment from the president and the other administrators to help the staff meet the staff-student relationship. Oh, and by the way, I used to be a licensed professional counselor in Illinois and Michigan, so I know how to listen very, very well.
Retention has become a hot topic in the VCCS. How would you improve retention rates while maintaining academic standards?
Retention rates, what people don't, some people fail to understand is the retention rate is not just in the classroom, but it's also the services and the attitude of the institution and the culture of the institution. We took the time at the community colleges of Spokane and also St. Philip's College to really sit down and talk with students. We had an exit interview for students who were planning not to come back. And what we found out, for instance, is that it was not the quality of education in the classroom. They thought the faculty were great. It was the issue of financial aid. They couldn't figure out the financial aid forms, and we lost students on a constant level. We also found out that we lost students standing in line for the Veteran Affairs because they couldn't get through the process. It didn't cost us a lot of money, but we want to make certain that retention doesn't mean that you have to reduce the quality of education. We need to make certain that the quality of education remains high, because you don't want students coming in expecting that Thomas Nelson programs that we can easily slide through. Because again, getting back to the transfer question, we want them to be successful when they transfer, but we also want to make certain that they are competitive nationally and internationally when they leave, so that when people have their diploma or their certificate on the wall or their training certificate, they can say from Thomas Nelson, we're competitive internationally, and I can put our students up against any other student. So the quality of education and the quality of programs is not as much of an issue for retention as is to find out why students are leaving. Are they leaving because of the mere fact that, one, we're doing a poor job in registration? Are we doing a poor job in terms of how instructors are grading? Is it a point that after a student, you see a class where there's 40 students in a class, and then at the end of the semester, there's only 5 students left? That is going to have an impact on retention, because there's a process there. And it may not necessarily be the instruction and how it's taking place, but it may be the delivery. And that's why we developed a faculty and staff development center at St. Philip's College to help with teaching styles, teaching techniques, and also to train staff on new styles and also new software that's free. So all of those come together as part of the retention. But retention is not just from the president's viewpoint, it's also for the entire staff and also the entire faculty and administration as well.
Would you describe what you consider to be a successful mid-level manager, and tell us what evidence you look for in evaluating them?
Okay. For all managers, and I said this to a couple of groups before, so I'm going to say it publicly, it's really accountability is what I look for. To bring the philosophy that I have as president of open communication, the philosophy that we're all a part of the same team, whether you're a mid-manager or if you're one of the senior managers, you're all a part of the team. A part of my philosophy is to make certain that if I'm in a particular meeting and a mid-manager is there or a senior manager is there, that the information that is shared at that table is communicated down the line. It's important that everyone understands the budget process. It's not, as I've said to a couple of people, it's not a secret compartment there where very few understand it, but everyone needs to understand it. Mid-managers need to be involved in that. My background is that I've been a mid-manager, I've been a dean, I've been an assistant dean, so I clearly understand. But to answer your question directly, it really centers around accountability, involvement, open communication, and they're part of the team.
Federal and state funding sources for community colleges are continuing to dwindle. What will you do to seek outside funding sources to allow for a continued service level to our students and community members?
I would tell the Thomas Nelson story. I would get involved in the community. My background, as I mentioned, I've been on chamber boards. I would join the chamber, I would join the Economic Development Council, I would join those organizations that would give me the opportunity to interact with business and industry. One of the examples that I gave earlier today was really to sit down when companies are planning on coming into the community, or even if they're planning on leaving, to work with the chambers, work with the visitor and convention bureau, to work with the different agencies to say, Thomas Nelson is the economic engine for this region. Let me talk to you about how we can play a role in keeping that company here through training, through workforce development, or if you're trying to recruit a company, let me show you how we can provide the staffing and the training programs necessary so that when the company moves here, they have a core group of employees that's ready to go to keep that company functioning. How I do that is utilizing my experience on fundraising. I don't have a problem asking a major corporation for $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. I may not get it, but I'll get maybe $3 or $2 million. But we need to look at other sources of revenue, but not just in terms of dollars. I'll give an example. When I was at St. Philip's College, Kelly Air Force Base, they were closing, and we were trying to find new teaching tools for our Southwest campus, and they were dealing with the engineering and airframe and technology component of it. Kelly Air Force Base donated 2 multi-million-dollar engines. And they also provided dollars to help train the faculty, to train the individuals for those engines. There was no way possible for us to purchase those engines on our budget. But because of the partnerships, the relationships that I built, they were able to donate. And emphasize, again, and I want to overemphasize, it's not just Charles Taylor going and asking for money. Because what I do as well, I usually bring a student, a faculty member, or another community member, or a local board member. The reason being because everyone realizes, if you're a corporation, they realize the CEO is going to come in and ask for money if you know that you're going to go in and ask for money. But having a student tell the story, having a faculty member tell the story, having someone who graduated tell the story, and if you can find someone from that person's company and have them come in and say, I'm an employee here, let me tell you the benefits of Thomas Nelson. So when you're dealing with fundraising, finding additional funds and resources, is something that we all have to deal with together as a family and going forward. But I've been able to find additional funds, and that's why the city of San Antonio asked me to be a part of the tri-chair when they went out with a bond initiative for the city, because I developed relationships not only at St. Philip's College, but in all the different boards that I sat on. And that's why the chamber asked me to be the founding chair for the East Side Chamber, because I developed those relationships with business and industry in the community.
Thank you for your earlier responses, but unfortunately, I'm all out of questions.
Oh, okay. I was looking for another one from you.
I'll make up for it.
Okay.
Since you're currently a senior administrator and have been a college president, why would you want to move to a state that has a history of underfunding higher education? Also, what ideas do you have to improve faculty salaries and support for necessary instructional technology in our classrooms?
Okay. Let me take the first question first, and then you can ask me the second. Again, so I'll make sure. Because, again, someone asked the question earlier, why would I want to come to Thomas Nelson? And dealing with the budget crisis. I'm currently in a state, if you know anything about California, they dealt with a $48 billion shortfall, and they went to a $14 billion, that's not million, that's $14 billion shortfall. And so I've been in states where, I'm trying to be nice here because I'm on film. I've been in a state where it's been a challenge to try to find additional resources. And what interests me about Thomas Nelson, and again in terms of my slide, we have a lot of the mechanisms in place currently to move forward. When you are in a high growth area, you have the opportunity to grow, you have the opportunity to seek additional resources. If you look look at our, what we call our penetration rate in terms of business and industry, we are very low. Numerous opportunities to expand. You have the Williamsburg campus, an opportunity there to grow. And so, yes, now we're in very tight financial times, and I know that coming in, but I'm coming in with the belief and the strong conviction that we can find additional resources to help us grow. And as we continue to grow, additional resources will come in, because people need to understand that once you become a multi-campus college, the Virginia system, there are additional funds that come along with that. But at the same time, companies and citizens are going to realize is that we're contributing to the economic development of the area, the Williamsburg area. There's a lot of growth in that area. We will make a difference. And telling the story, hopefully people will open up their purse, pockets, et cetera, not because we need it, but what we can do for them as a community and for this region. And so I see this as an opportunity. It's going to be a challenge. I'm not under the illusion that we're going to all of a sudden open up the floodgates and money's going to roll through. The opportunity is for us as a unit and as a college community to make all that happen. So I'm excited. If you haven't picked up the excitement, I'm excited about the opportunities, and so the excitement is there, but I'm trying to be reserved for the camp.
As you know, the college has implemented a new student information system, PeopleSoft. When the system was purchased by the VCCS, they were assured that all the functionalities would be ready when we needed them. However, some of them were not, and that affected our ability to meet some deadlines and compliance standards. We have successfully developed workarounds, and our system continues to improve. However, in future audits, some of our past performance difficulties may surface. Are you experienced in the aftermath of such an implementation, and how would you handle possible audit comments?
Okay. I forgot to mention, one of the new challenges of a president coming in will be dealing with PeopleSoft. What I would say twofold is that at Peralta, we're in the process now of putting in a new system. Hewlett-Packard, Compaq, we're putting in a new infrastructure. It's a $4 million process. We're paying another $4 million to do an upgrade of our power and electric. And we will be selecting an administrative software company, whether it's Oracle, PeopleSoft, Banner, DataTel, etc. And so I've had the experience in working with those type of systems and realizing that it is a challenge. Training is extremely important. But as it relates to the audits, currently I'm the Senior Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance, and all of the audit components have gone through our area. Matter of fact, we just finished our yearly audit. And in dealing with exceptions, one of the things that I've done as Senior Vice Chancellor is actually taking the time to sit down and explain why things happen, making certain that there are no dollars missing, but understanding that there's a new system that came in, that there are things that we picked up, that adjustments need to be made, but taking the time to run through the books, if you will, to say these are the things that we did. As I know, one of the fortunate things that we did here at Thomas Nelson, we had to run some of our own Excel sheets so we can actually show some of the actual dollars and figures that are on the paper. They may not appear in the software packet, but we can actually show where the dollars are and how they were spent. So that would be a challenge, but I've gone through audits before. As I wanted to overemphasize, that is also going to be a part of the accreditation that's going to take place. You know, how are your finances? That's going to be critical. I've been on the North Central Accrediting Commission. I've gone through, and matter of fact, I was one of the people that came and visited colleges. And as I mentioned, I've gone through a successful accreditation process at St. Philip's College. So I've seen it on both ends. And from the audit standpoint, that's a part of my responsibilities now as the Senior Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance. Okay.
How do you plan to provide centralized services for two campuses located 30 miles from one another?
Okay. Well, the opportunities that excite me is that I was in a district and Spokane, where we had to serve over 12,300 square miles. So 30 miles apart would be like a walk in the park. But it is important. The reason that I'm excited about the opportunity, because as I mentioned, I've been a chancellor where we had 3 separate colleges, one institute and 2 colleges, and currently I'm at an institute where we have a district where we have 4 separate accredited colleges. And at St. Philip's, we had a multi-campus college there as well. So when you look at and use the term centralized, there's a process that you can use as we used at St. Philip's College. We didn't call it centralized, but we made certain that the same types of programs and services that are available at the Hampton campus will be available at the Williamsburg campus. You need to have everyone involved. You have to be very creative. You have to probably utilize some technology. You have to make certain that the budget, even though it's going to be extremely tight, that people understand why dollars are put into one place in terms of growing a new program, or even if we can just make ends meet in the next year or two, because there's not a lot of new dollars coming in, it's going to be extremely tight. But as we continue to grow and as we continue to raise funds, it will be beneficial in terms of how we manage, how we put together the administrative structure. Talking with the faculty, are we talking about 2 separate faculty senates? The faculty may say we could have 1 faculty senate and have them serving both campuses. So we need to have open dialogue on how we can function, how we can service the community there. Because if I'm a student that's taking classes at Williamsburg, I'm going to be paying the same tuition. And the first question will be asked, if I'm paying the same tuition, why is it that I don't have the same number of counselors, the same number of advisors, the same number of faculty, et cetera, et cetera? We as a college community need to have those discussions. We need to have them early on. So to answer your question, it may not be a centralized system, but it's something that we all will agree on and how we can best serve that community. Not only from faculty, but not only from administration, but from staff and students as well. And so when you have that dialogue, it may not be as centralized as using that term, because I was president of both campuses at St. Philip's, and I was chancellor at 4 colleges. One institution was extremely centralized. St. Philip's College, we were not centralized at all. And so it really depends on the culture and the need of the institution. And that's why I said, I used the slides to say, I have the experience in areas. Thomas Nelson have the components there. We need to come together and make certain that we move forward collectively. And so I'm not coming in with any preconceived notions. I can say we've tried it this way at one institution. Thomas Nelson may be totally different. The culture may be totally different. We may not be able to do it. But again, that's why open communication, teamwork, collaboration is extremely important.
You've already spoken on this a little bit, but in your opinion, why do community colleges exist?
Well, community colleges exist basically to provide education, opportunity, and accessibility to education. They used to be called many years ago junior colleges because they were seen as an opportunity for people to go into the universities as a stop place for the K-12. It used to be K-14. It used to be an extension. But the community colleges have grown, they've matured. They are now a choice instead of going to a 4-year university. It's a choice instead of staying up. They provide training, not just the transferability, but new training certificates, opportunities for people to expand their education, to get additional job training for advancement in their particular jobs. Again, I've sat on the American Association of Community Colleges. We've overemphasized the need for community colleges. And community colleges, if you look at how flexible we are, how quickly we can adapt to change, how we can meet the needs of the industry, business and industry, we are the economic engine for the regions in which we're serving. That's why they moved from junior colleges to community colleges, because we are the economic engine. And community colleges are the key educational institutions quality of life for the citizens that we serve. Let me repeat that again, because y'all didn't say ooh-ah. But it emphasizes and improves the quality of life for the people that we serve. Imagine how many individuals would be on the street today if it weren't for the community colleges. They're not getting into the universities. As a matter of fact, in California, they're telling the universities they can't even get in the freshman year. They're sending them to the community colleges because they no longer see it as the second class, but they see it as a viable educational tool. And that's what the community colleges are about. And I can speak a half an hour on that, but they're telling me I'm running out of time.
Now we'd like to start the open questioning from any of you. Mike Snyder and Joyce McGowan have microphones, and if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand, and they'll bring the mic to you. Questions?
Yes, my name is Charlotte Markham. I'm the Student Government Secretary and Treasurer. I am with PTK and work at Campus Police. I kind of got 3 questions for you. One, I'd like to hear what it's like for student government at your school. How do you feel student government works at your college? How important is the students working with the college? And where does non-traditional students stand, in your opinion, having heard what you said about the young student? Where do you view the non-traditional student, which we have a lot of at Thomas Nelson?
Let me answer it this way and go backwards and skip to the first question as well. Let me make certain that you understand that traditional students, we have a large number of traditional students at the Peralta Community College District. I was just saying that our demographics are changing here at Thomas Nelson, so we need to be prepared for that change. But I'm not taking away from the adult population. That's a large population that we have now, so I appreciate you mentioning that. But in terms of student government, at the Peralta Community College District, we have 2 students who sit on, they're student trustees, they sit on our board. The Student Government Association, we have a Student Government Association at each of the 4 colleges, and they are intricately involved in the governance of the institution. And when I was at St. Philip's College, we had students sitting on our advisory board, our college-wide advisory board at the community colleges of Spokane. When I first moved in there as chancellor, we had faculty and administration just meeting on a regular basis, dealing with policies and procedures at the institution. I expanded that to include staff and also include students. And so when we had our district-wide advisory council meeting, students were at the table, and I'll give it one example. When there was a discussion about increasing fees for some of the labs, the departments, they were going to be increasing them some by 10, some by 20%. The students on the advisory council were able to say, let's stop, let's give the students the opportunity to talk with the departments to find out why the costs were going up so that they can communicate. And what happened is that the departments changed a number of different fees. As a matter of fact, some of them actually put it off for another year because the students' involvement in discussion and the impact that that would have. So to answer your question specifically, student government has played a critical role at all of the community colleges, particularly at Peralta, and they actually organized a one-day trip to our state capital in Sacramento where the student government came together and talked about the increase in enrollment fees and the increase in tuition. So our students have always played a critical role. And when I was the Vice President of Student Affairs in Battle Creek, Michigan at Kellogg Community College, student government played such a critical role that we instituted student leadership training for our students so they can play a stronger leadership role. And so I've always been a strong student advocate, but student government plays a role because, as I mentioned, when we're all working together, students, when they're talking to other individuals, they should be able to say comfortably, I would recommend you going to Thomas Nelson. They have, quality, excellent. But at the same time, they give me an opportunity to have a voice in what's happening in the direction of the institution. And so that's how I feel about students' involvement and student government involvement. Okay. I hope that covered all three of your questions. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
This is a follow-up to the collective bargaining thing you talked about earlier. You said you brought the parties together. Who, besides the faculty union, was involved?
The individuals that were involved, hopefully this won't sound crass, but what I did is I asked the attorneys to leave the room for a minute and just had the faculty and the administration, those who were, we call them bargaining unit groups, and we had the two bargaining unit groups come together. But one of the things that we did at the very first meeting, we said, let's not talk about bargaining issues. Let's talk about how we're going to interact with one another. One, you're going to show respect. You're going to listen. People are going to listen to your concerns and issues. So we set up some parameters at the very beginning that didn't deal at all with any of the bargaining issues, but it really dealt with how you treat one another, how you talk to one another, how you listen. And so we had the bargaining unit teams. And the faculty, they had some members from the faculty senate, some members from the bargaining unit. From the administration, I changed some of the individuals that were at the table. We had people from the finance side at the table so they can explain to the individuals what was happening in the finance, because it was one of those cloak and dagger type of situations with the budget. I used the example today when I was talking. Our budget situation at the community colleges of Spokane was that the budget was put into a closet and only 2 people had keys to it. And no one else had a clear understanding of what it was. One of the things I did is put together a budget advisory council and made certain that they were at the bargaining table so that they could talk about the budget, because a lot of it dealt with monetary issues. But we also put some of the academic deans and also some of the vice presidents at the table so that people have a clear understanding when they're talking about them, they can look across the table and say we're all in it together. And the one thing that really took place that I thought was one of the great things is that at the end, again, even though we had 95% of the people voting on it, it's very successful. The president of the union at a public board meeting stated to, and this is the first time it happened in the history of community colleges of Spokane, they said, we now have some respect for the administrators. Not that they had a lot of respect, but they said, and for the president of the union, keep in mind, a year ago, they're planning on going on strike, picket signs, etc. For them to say we now have some respect for the administration, we have a clear understanding of what they have to do, they have an understanding of what we're doing, that worked out well. And also that same year, we also approved the staff union contract, and that had been ongoing for 4 years. And we finalized that in that same year, because we took a different philosophy and a different approach in terms of how we dealt with one another. No one wants to ask a big question of me?
Rex Evans with Workforce Services. Dr. Taylor, if you could perhaps focus on one business education partnership that you're especially proud of, that you've been involved with in the past, and also if you could share your experiences in the pursuit and implementation of grants.
I'll take the second question first. On the pursuit of implementation of grants, when I was at Loyola University of Chicago, I actually wrote a grant and I received a Kellogg Foundation grant. Matter of fact, I received 2 of them. And another grant that we've been involved in is a grant at the community colleges of Spokane, where we actually filled out a grant. It was a part of National Science Foundation, and we were putting in a grant to try to start an ACT center. We were not successful in that regard, but the grant itself turned out well, that we were able to put together an extension center, and that worked out well. The other grant was really a Title III grant at Kellogg Community College. It was one of grant is called Disabled Students Programs, and that turns out exceptionally well. We got a very large grant for that. The other part of your question is one that I'm most proud of, and this is a grant that we received at Kellogg Community College, but it really was involved with the business community. And the business community, we had what they used to call a women's program, a single women's program. It was part of the Title III. At Kellogg, we had a large company that basically could not provide child care services. And as part of my resume, you will see that one of the things I'm most proud of is that we built a brand new child care center at Kellogg Community College. And it not only helped our enrollment, but it also helped business and industry. And it was so successful that the city and the region took it over and built a large, brand new child care center for this industrial park so that other companies could take advantage. And the opportunity, again, dealing with the mission of community colleges, making education accessible, dealing again also with retention. Those types of things help our students stay in school because we looked at providing those services for the students who are single parents to be able to drop their children off in a very fine environment, and for the city and for the region and business and industry to step forward and say this is important and have Kellogg Community College involved in it. That is a success story that I'm very proud of and really pleased to be a part of. So I can write grants, and I've been able to go in and fight for grants, and at the same time, again, work with business and industry to the success of our students. And that's what it's really all about. It's not just going and saying, I'm able to get $5 million, but what that $5 million can do for Thomas Nelson, not only for the students, but also for our staff and our faculty and administration. Thank you.
Rosa Hamlin, Campus Police. Realizing that safety and security are both major issues in today's world, if you were selected for this position, how would you go about ensuring a safe and secure environment for Thomas Nelson Community College?
How would I go about a safe and secure? Well, first thing, I would take the time to sit down and talk with you to see how safe and secure we currently are, to find out what additional things are needed and necessary. For instance, when I was president at St. Philip's College, we were increasing our evening enrollment program. It was not one of the best secure institutions, but one of the things that we put in place was lighting across the top of the building. I mean, we put it in a very nice manner, but it opened up, it brightened up the institution. And as you know, we have to report on a regular basis the crime statistics. And some institutions may feel that it's not a friendly environment, but there are certain small things that we can do. Currently at Tualatin Community College, the Sheriff's Department reports directly to me as the Senior Vice Chancellor. So we deal with security issues, whether it's through monitors. We have put in what we call blue lights, which is being done here in terms of safety, so students understand if there's any particular issue, they can pick up a phone at the blue light that goes right into our police services, and we have a quick response time. We look at if there are shades around, if there's a high crime area, people breaking into cars. We've done a number of small initiatives where we actually have had what we call student patrols. They're on the buddy system where two students walk around and patrol, and they have a walkie-talkie they can call right into police services. So a number of small things. They really don't cost a lot of money, but it's basically making not only students safe, but also that the staff are safe, and the faculty are safe, and the administrators are safe, so that when they are walking from their offices to their cars, that they are very, very safe as well. So as president, I would be able to sit down with you, and not only with you, but sit down with the staff, sit down with students, sit down with administrators and faculty and find out, do we have an issue in terms of safety? I'm a strong believer in preventative measures, not wait to respond to something that's happening, but look at what could possibly happen and put in some preventative measures. But we've been in an environment In Oakland, we're in downtown Oakland, right in the center of downtown in terms of our district office and Laney College. So we put in a number of different measures, whether it's lighting, whether it's patrolling, whether it's the student workers, all of those type of things. We put out things in terms of people not leaving their purse or their belongings in certain areas. For the library services, we put out signs and things in terms of students leaving their laptops, not their laptops, but their book bags on the table when they run to the restroom. So we've taken a complete comprehensive approach to safety at the institutions. And one of the benefits, as I mentioned, is that the sheriff's office that we contract with reports directly to me as the senior vice chancellor.
I know you probably have more questions, but as I mentioned yesterday, we're on a very tight schedule. We'd like to give Dr. Taylor one more opportunity to share any additional information about himself with us, and then we'll close for the day.
Thank you. Well, just in closing, if you haven't picked up, I'm excited about the opportunity. I want to thank all of you for being here today. I know all of you have a very, very tight schedule, and I just want to emphasize my successful experience administration, my philosophy and belief in terms of excellence in all we do, working together. We can only achieve success if we all work together to have open communication, open dialogue. And I am willing to give to you, to the community, my commitment that I will roll up my sleeve and work as hard. I will not ask someone to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. If it's something that's sitting at the desk, and you don't want to put me at the desk in terms of registering because I probably mess it up. But I'm willing to hand out a piece of paper and say, this is how you do it, and go see this individual. You see, I have a small sense of humor. You didn't laugh at all at my face. But I bring the experience and things that are needed at this critical time. Getting back to some of the questions, this is a critical time for Thomas Nelson. We're building a new campus. We are at the same time dealing with budget issues. We're at the same time dealing with dwindling resources. We're at the same time dealing with business and industry, looking at a lot of different options in terms of where they should go for training. This is an ideal time, and we're positioned. And I am asking to be president of this institution, not because I can do it alone, because I believe we have the dedication, we have the staff, we have the faculty. And keep in mind, you've been able to do it on dwindling resources. Imagine what we can do if we can get additional resources. Imagine what we can do when we start bringing in new students, new faculty, new initiatives, new technology. And imagine, as I mentioned, and people laughed when I said, we're number 4 in the state now. Imagine if we're number 2. I won't say number 1 because people may hurt me. But imagine if we're number 2 or even number 3. And having the money to do the things that we know that we can do. Because all of you can think of new and creative ideas if we had just a little bit more money, just a little bit. Imagine what we can do in serving the students and how we could say in improving the quality of life for this region. Just imagine. And that's why I want to be your next president here at Thomas Nelson. Thank you very much.
We'd like to thank all of you for coming today. We'd like to thank the panel for the wonderful questions. And special thanks to Dr. Taylor for taking time to come to Thomas Nelson and share his ideas and his thoughts with us. I'd like to remind you to please complete your evaluation forms. Turn them in to the Human Resources Office if you don't drop them in the box at the exits. Also, probably later on today, the resumes for each candidate as well as the videos will be available in the library. So if you'd like to review them, then please feel free to go on over. Okay, thank you very much.